Hello and welcome to Animal Life on ARCN TV, Mabushi, Abuja. Today on the program, we'll be looking at the understanding communications in animal. My name is Fatima Suleiman. Scientists have observed similarity between human language and the communication of non-human animals. Animals communicate using signs such as sound or movement, and these signs can be considered a kind of language if they have a large inventory of signs. They also use the signs in more voluntary way, rather than simply through instinct or conditioning. In experiments, animals like chimpanzee and bonobos have even been observed using signs to communicate, known as lexigrams. Many researchers argue that animal communication lacks a key aspect of human language: the creation of new patterns of signs under varied circumstances. Humans, by contrast, routinely produce entirely new combinations of words. Some researchers argue that human language and animal communication differ so much that the underlying principles are unrelated. Other scientists believe animal and human communication exist on a continuum. They say that communication systems in animals have the potential to be analogous to human language. Since the beginning of life on Earth, communication has played an important role in the development of animal and human societies. Communication comes from the Latin word communicare, meaning to share or to make common. It is the process of giving information or expressing feelings or ideas to someone. It is an essential part of our lives, both for animals and human. Human communication has a very elaborated structure. A language is a complex communication system, and it occurs when the speaker and the listener possesses a representational process that is common and that ensures similar coding and decoding of signal meaning. Even if animals might not have the ability to speak a language or utter various words, they have many other ways of expressing themselves. In animal communication, scent is probably the most common sense used by animals in order to mark their territory, to warn off or even scare intruders, to show their readiness to mate or even to attract the prey. In general, they use strong smelling urine for these purposes, but some animals possess scent glands that produce persistent odors. Skunks are widely known for their anal scent glands that spray an oily liquid towards their enemy. The foul mix does not do any serious damage to the victim, but it scares him off and it could linger on his body for a few days. Snakes and lizards use their tongues in order to collect the scent particles in the air. Then they analyze the information inside their mouths. Many insects such as bees, ants, and moths use pheromones to communicate, mostly for attracting males. Another source of scent utilized by some animals to make their presence be felt on different territory is excrement. Another source of scent utilized by some animals, for examples, are rabbit, the hippopotamus, the vicuna, to make their presence to be felt on different territory is excrement. They try to mark their territory by dropping large heaps of feces so others would keep distance. The second sense that animals rely on to a great extent is hearing. In order to survive and succeed, animals guide themselves by acoustic signals that they produce and receive. There is an ample variety of sounds that could be produced by animals, depending on size and species. Numerous acoustic signals that are transmitted by animals are not distinguished or noticed by humans because of the ultra-low sounds that can't be perceived by human ear. The most vocal animals are birds that are well known for their songs in different tonalities and cheerful chirping, especially in spring and summer. Whales, the largest of all mammals, are experts in the art of sound communication. They use various types of sounds like whistle, clicks, and pulse call for multiple purposes: echolocation, mating calling, and social interaction. Other animals that are often heard by humans are frogs and toads that have developed their vocal signals by using little bags of air as sound resonators, which are situated on the side of head or in the throat. Elephants can produce a wide range of sound, from rumbles to snorts and cries, going from low frequencies to higher ones. When they are in danger or they are in state of extreme excitement, they use their trunk to deliver long, resounding trumpet. Their larger ears allows them to have a great sensitivity to lower frequencies and also a better capacity in localizing sounds. A third sense that helps animals communicate is sight. Visual signals at animals are diverse and they can come in many forms of display, such as mimicry, body posture, and facial expressions. For example, male peacock and lyrebirds display their exquisite colorful feathers. For example, male peacock and lyrebirds display their exquisite colorful feathers and bodies in order to attract female for mating. Visual communication being used in their advantage. Body language is frequently used by dogs, cats, monkeys, and other animals. An example would be the moment when two dogs meet for the first time and they start setting their hierarchical position through body postures. If one holds its tails between the legs, it means that the dog is found in a submissive position, allowing the other with raised tail to exercise power and dominance. Dogs also make use of their tails by waging them in order to show happiness, excitement, or pleasure. In opposition, cats' waving tails is a signal of anger and irritation. The non-human primates, the monkeys, use a lot of facial expressions and body language to express their feelings. They flutter eyelids and raise eyebrows to denote pleasure. They hug to show friendship towards the other, and the male hits their chest in order to show superiority. The art of mimicry is a fascinating modality of visual communication between animals. Mimicry occurs when an animal copies the action, the appearance, or the sounds of another animal, or even the surrounding itself, in order to avoid predators and enemies and to get them confused. For example, the peacock butterfly has large eye spots on its wing to give the predator the false expression that it represents something bigger than it actually. It is so that would scare him off. Another example is the elephant hawk moth caterpillar, who inflates its snake-like head when being attacked to create the illusion of being bigger and scarier animal. Other type of visual communication is warning coloration, which can be found at caterpillars, various insects, frogs, and snakes. The bright colors representing a warning for the potential predators. Their coloration patterns shows how dangerous or poisonous they can be, and also if they have a dreadful taste. So, in general, animals learn how to avoid the danger in such cases. Even though it might not be as important as other senses, touch is used by some animals in order to communicate their feelings toward others, as humans make certain gestures like shaking hands, kissing, or hugging when meeting someone. Monkeys also hug as a sign of affection. In addition to humans, they have a special and unique greeting which consists in placing the hand in each other's mouth as a sign of trust and friendliness between them. Cats are creatures that are avid after tactile communication with others or their kind or even with humans. They usually rub their bodies against each other, especially around the face area but also along their bodies, intertwining their tails. Some domestic and savage cats use each other as cushions, this behavior being some form of social bonding and affection. They have long grooming each other and cup up together. Owner of over 1,000 tiny receptors, the crocodile is very sensitive to any kind of presence or movement. These receptors are present around their jawline and they can easily detect vibrations in the water and the location of their prey even when a smell insects stop by to take a drink. Animal communication has always been fascinating to humans as we try to understand which are the similarities and differences between human language and animals' ways of expressing themselves. According to research conducted on bees, that there are some similarity between bees' communication and human language. They are able to offer and to receive messages that contain real data. They can describe the location and the distance of certain objects, and they can communicate all these by using various somatic movements. Therefore, it was demonstrated that bees own some kind of memory which enables them to store all the data and then transmit it to others. On the other hand, the differences between human language and bees' communication are significant. Bees can only transmit the message through body language without being able to create sound through vocal organs. Their communication can occur only during daily light and elements that permit visual perception, while human communication is not limited by these factors. Another important difference between the two languages is the fact that, unlike humans, bees can carry a dialogue. Therefore, there is no exchange of linguistic information and no reply from the receiver or the message. Also, bees' messages can't be analyzed because they can only be seen as a general reference to a total content. But in human speech, each utterance can be reduced to parts that could easily be combined according to some certain rules, so there is a great variety in human language. So therefore, bees' communication is not a language but a signal code because there is an invariability of the message, a unilaterality of transmission, an impossibility of the separating the elements of the message and also phasing of the topic. Studies made on non-human primates show that while humans acquire extra information about the speaker's intentions, wishes, and beliefs during a dialogue, apes and monkeys appear to have no such ability because there is no theory of mind. Their way of communicating might appear a bit chaotic when it is compared to human language. For example, when they encounter dangerous situations, they create some alarm vocalization which are not structured but short and noisy. These sounds are ideally produced to capture the listener's attention as quick as possible in order to warn it about the potential dangers and to make it react really fast. styles. Human research on animal communication is important for understanding the way animals communicate and express themselves. It is a fascinating field that has much to teach us about the animal world and how it compares to our own. As we learn more about animal communication, we will be able to better understanding and connect with animals around us. Animals are truly fascinating creatures. When we take the time to understand them, we can build lasting bonds and form meaningful relationships. Many people ask how it's possible to communicate with animals if they don't speak our language. Therefore, you need to learn to speak theirs. To do this, you must understand their behavior and body language. Once you can communicate with them on their level and form a deep connection, it may take some time and effort, but it's truly a rewarding experience. The basic structure of animal communication is quite similar to human communication. There is still a sender, receiver, and feedback like there is with humans. The main difference is that animals communicate in non-verbal ways, like body language, vocalizations, and scent. They don't communicate using words or language as we know it. Still, the basic functions of communication are the same in both humans and animals. There are 4 common types of animal communication that animals use to express themselves. Let's look at some of them. One of the most common forms of animal communication is auditory communication, or the use of sound. For many people, the first thing that comes to mind when thinking about animal communication is the sound they make. From the chirping of birds to the calls of monkey, animals use sound to communicate in a variety of ways. These sounds can carry a lot of information such as warnings, mating calls, or even just letting others know where they are. The birds are not trying to make your morning miserable when they sing at the crack of dawn. They are communicating with each other and signing to mark their territory. And the cat that's mewing in your backyard the cat is using a specific mew to convey a specific message. Whether they are happy, hungry, or just feeling chatty, cats and dogs use sound to communicate their needs and feeling. So the next animals use sound to express their feelings. When a pet owner provides some food to his dog and the dog barks, that means the dog is happy. Similarly, when a lion growls at a hunter, that means the lion is warning the hunter. Some animals use sound to alarm their buddies about the approaching danger, while some use them to impress their mates. When a bird sings, usually it's for his mate or to teach his baby birds. Marian animal humpback will also communicate through sound. Its songs can be heard in some parts of the ocean for male. Its songs can be heard in some parts of the ocean for miles. Some animals don't have vocal organs but rather have complex auditory communication methods. Insects like cicadas, mosquitoes, tentrect rely on their body parts to create auditory communication methods. Visual communication is a vital part of the animal kingdom, from bright, colorful plumage on birds to the elaborate dances of birds or paradise. Animals uses their bodies to send message. They also use body language and posture to communicate, and some animals even change their colors to signal danger or to attract mate. These visual signs are often easy to miss, but if you pay attention, you will start to notice them everywhere. Gestures and postures are the most common used visual communication for animals. You can see animals doing body movements such as raising hands, flicking feathers, shrinking, slapping the ground, slow body language, eye contact to attract their fellow mates, attention to ward off danger for playtime or hunting. As for facial signals, the most common example you will find is of a young chimpanzee. They grin at an approaching dominant male of their species to show their acceptance of the male dominance. The grin is known as the fear grin. Not only do some animals use their body language to communicate, but they also change their color to signal others. For example, female monkey in heat will develop bright red color on their behind to let male know that they are ready to mate. Other animals like poison dart frog uses their vibrant colors as a warning to predators that they are poisonous. These changes in coloration are a type of visual communication that plays an important role in the animal world. Camouflage is another type of visual communication, but in this case, the message is deception. When animals use camouflage, they are changing their appearance to look like something else, like a leaf or moss. It is a way to trick predator or prey, and it's also used to hide from view. Some insects, like stick insects, look just like twigs. Some frogs look like mossy logs, and some marine birds, like the Arctic sandpiper, blend into the sand. Among all types of animal communication, tactile communication is the most common. Tactile communication involves touching, which means the participants have to be close together. This type of communication usually happens within groups, so it has limits, but it can also happen between animals of different species, like cats and dogs that live together in a pet house. Through tactile communication, animals can share messages about dominance, danger, or affection. Tactile communication is called a common form of animal communication due to mating reasons. That way, tactile communication definitely occurs among every species of animals that goes through heat. Meanwhile, it is also recognized as a form of social bonding, infant care, grooming, or showcase of dominance. You can take a look at monkeys and apes who love to pick bugs of each other to display affection. Some animals use chemical signals called pheromones to communicate with each other. Pheromones are chemicals that get released into the environment. They can use changes in the behavior or feelings of other animals of the same species. This type of communication is common among insects like ants and bees. Pheromones are especially useful when an animal needs to warn others of danger, mark territory, or find a mate. Releaser pheromones trigger an immediate response in other animals of the same species. These pheromones can travel for miles, attracting mates or causing other responses. Releaser pheromones may cause an immediate reaction, but they don't last long. When a male moth wants to attract a female, he releases these type of pheromones into the air. If the female is interested, she will quickly respond and find her mate. But once she found her partner, the pheromone will quickly break down. A primal pheromone causes physiological changes which last longer with a delayed affection. Alarm pheromones are released by an organism in the face of danger to warn or alert the other members of its species. Food trail pheromones are produced to lead to the members of their own species towards a food source, while creating a territorial mark in the form of pheromones. Lastly, sex pheromones are released by an organism to attract an individual of its own species to encourage them for mating or other function related to sexual reproduction. Animal pheromones are generally released in their urine. These chemical substances are very specific and effective for the day and the night. Pheromones have the potential for lasting for a long time, but it also depends on the weather effects such as rain. The most common forms of communication between humans and animals are auditory, tactile, and visual. The earlier example of a dog barking at its own or to express his happiness for receiving food is an auditory form of communication. Besides, when your pet whines for your attention to grow to express dissatisfaction, and when you play with them or instruct them with something and receive their response, these are all auditory communication methods. Tactile communications occurs when your pet licks or when you scratch their fur that emit a paw out of them. These are known as tactile method of communication. As for visual communication, when you train your pet by mimicking a motion or displaying a movement on either posters, books, or phones, that's called visual communication. It is amazing how animals communicate with each other, and it's easy to see that they have their own complex world just like we do. In many ways, animals are so different from us, but at the same time, their communication is similar in some ways. Their interactions are full of meaning and purpose. They are all a part of a vast web of interaction, and it's fascinating to learn about the many different ways they communicate. And that is it on the program Animal Life on ARCN TV. I hope you found today's episode interesting and informative. I am Fatima Suleiman. Thank you for watching.